recognizing that it is a high holy day in the Lutheran calendar, I thought that I should pull out these famous texts for our day together as we celebrate this Rally Sunday. So hear these words. In those days, a decree went out from the legislature that all the children shall return to school. This was the week after the first Monday in September, with a few exceptions. Read in that Minneapolis. This was while Mark Dayton was governor of Minnesota. So all went from their cabins and their vacations and their summer activities to their respective towns, that their children might be registered. Or again, we hear, but on the first day of the week, at early morning, several of the women came to the place, taking the supplies they had prepared. They found the doors were open, but nobody was there. While they were perplexed about this, suddenly 2 men entered from the sanctuary and stood beside them. They asked, "Why are you looking for the children now? It is only 8 in the morning." Yes, as we gather on this day, this Rally Sunday, it is easy for us to think about what has transpired over the course of the summer and what now draws us into community. That we are back from those places far away, back from maybe those times of having a leisurely Sunday morning in the garden. We are back recognizing that there are children on buses and on foot heading to school, and so we come together, rally on this day, as people of faith beginning this new programmatic year. And as we come together, obviously, those are not the selected texts for today. Rather, we get these incredible texts from the Hebrew Bible and from James and from Mark that call us into a new way of being, that speak to us about who we are and also who we might become. Now, these texts are beautiful, beautiful images. We have the mountains clapping and the trees rejoicing and the people joining in this work. We have the community coming together, struggling with what it means to be community and who we really want sitting on the floor and in the chairs and on the pew. And then we have this story, this powerful and beautiful story of Jesus. This one that we look to and aspire to be like. And yet we get this story where it seems like Jesus just doesn't quite get it right. At least initially. And normally we like to tuck that part away. We like to focus on how Jesus in the end brings it on home. He hits the home run, he scores the football, or the touchdown. He makes things happen, right? But the challenge is that he's there. And this story perhaps speaks as much to the community as it does to Jesus. You see, the Gospel of Matthew is written decades after Jesus' life, his death, and his resurrection. The Gospel of Matthew is speaking to a community that is perplexed about what are next steps and who they should be. You see, the Matthean community has largely been Jewish. Those who have been rooted first in the temple until its destruction and the synagogues. And now they're trying to figure out how. How do we go about proclaiming this message of Jesus for the people? And they're pretty content going out and talking to their friends. People like them. People who are Jewish. The challenge becomes that in Jerusalem and in Palestine and in Syria and in Greece, there are a lot of other people who aren't Jewish. And what happens when they begin to hear this message of Jesus? The attempt, of course, is to shut it down, close the doors, and draw inward, focusing on what has happened and who has been here, rather than creating an expansive vision. And so here, in this place and in this time, the sense is that the story, this particular story of Jesus first laying claim to the Jewish people and then being challenged, is also about speaking to the community. That their hearts and their minds can be changed, renewed, recreated. To say that it's not just for the Jewish people, but also for the Gentiles. Now, there's some pretty harsh words here, and we have to own those words as we listen to Jesus. When he, in a sense, calls this Syrophoenician woman and those like her the dogs. And if you are familiar at all with the prayers that took place both in the Greco world as well as in the Jewish world, the prayers that would be uttered would be, "Oh God, thank you for making me a Jew instead of a Gentile, a man instead of a woman, a free person instead of a slave, or perhaps any of these things above making me a dog." And so when Jesus uses this word of the tame dogs, it's a slam, a difficult slam. And it is precisely there that we engage. To hear this woman challenge back, this one that she has come to receive mercy and healing from for her daughter. It is precisely there that we have to enter in to examine who we would label as the outcast, those that we want nothing to do with. Those that we might struggle with in so many ways.